Do you want to empower families and young people in your community? Then take the time to make a tax-deductible contribution to the Coach Tate Fund. The Coach Tate Foundation is dedicated to helping young people and their families in learning and passing on the kinds of life skills that we all need to succeed. All too often, we hear about kids and their families having encountered life's difficulties that could have been easily avoided by knowing better decision-making skills, from anger management to money management to something as simple as learning to manage how we spend our time or how we use our job skills. Make a donation to the Coach Tate Fund. It'll help kids who need help and their families too. Make your contribution to the Coach Tate Fund. Get details at www.coachtatefoundation.com. And oh, by the way, thank you.
May the words of our mouths and the meditations of our hearts be acceptable in thy sight, O Lord, our strength and our Redeemer. Good morning, it's family time, and welcome back to Empower Family Talk Radio Podcast. Depending on when you're tuning in, I'd like to say happy Martin Luther King Jr. Day or weekend to our listeners. And for those of you who've been following along, you may recognize my voice once again. And for those of you who may not, my name is Ava Nkati. I'm a dual D1 student athlete, doing both soccer and track at UNC Asheville. Usually I'm a guest, but once again, we're reversing the script. Here I am hosting/co-hosting with the lovely Francina Tate-Halrez. And today we are joined by the lovely Demetrios Maimarides and a new and very special guest, and a highly educated attorney and mentor, Billy Raj Bhatta. In each and every podcast, there's a theme in which we, the people, come together to discuss and learn ways to pay it forward in this 21st century. In today's episode in particular, we're going to learn about the Inclusive Multicultural Children's Law and Justice Leadership Learning Academy, which is presented by the New America through the amazing Coach Tate Foundation. Stay tuned to learn all about the who, what, where, whys, and hows in regards to how exactly this amazing academy will pay it forward, and how, just like our special guests, you can contribute in your own way to this program as well. And now, before I begin the podcast and we all learn more, let's take a second to start out with some scripture. So in Proverbs 16, line 16, it reads, "How much better to get wisdom than gold, to get insight rather than silver." And this is a very short passage, but I think it has a big message. And, you know, me especially being a college student, I absolutely love this because I believe it reminds us of how materialistic items and money can be enjoyable, but they will come and go. And some of these items, you know, may or may not go out of style, but the education and wisdom you acquire can never be taken away from you. It will last forever, and it can make you holistically a better person. And I love that, you know, in the Inclusive Multicultural Children's Law and Justice Leadership Learning Academy, I love that it's a program set to give this amazing gift of education. And I'm going to start handing this over to Francina. Would you like to start off this? I'd like to start off this Q&A session with you. And do you mind explaining, you know, what the Law and Justice Academy is, and further introducing our guests for us?
Well, yes, I certainly will, Ms. Ava, and thank you so much for that wonderful, wonderful introduction, and say good morning to our guest, Mr. Bhatta. And I want to emphasize, answer your question, the Children's Law and Justice Academy, Leadership Learning Academy, is simple. This is where the charity is going to teach the good news of our law and justice system. So simple where a child can understand it and apply it to their lives. Now, we've worked with the Coach Tate Foundation. We've worked this is our 11th year. We're celebrating our 11th year serving our children and families of multicultural background in the community. And we've learned a lot about the law and legal issues, immigration, intellectual property, and so forth. And so today we are officially bringing our legal scholars and our legal entrepreneurs, retired judges, retired lawyers to the academy so they are able to pay it forward and help new clients discover our new laws and justice and how simple it is to live a good life when you can share the good news of our law and justice system, Ava. And I'm sure Mr. Bata is going to share with us what he's bringing to the Children's Law and Justice Academy, a little bit about his background.
Yeah, thank you, Eva and Francina. That was a wonderful introduction about the Law and Justice Academy. And I do agree that the time is changing, and according to the time, the law and justice also has to change because the society, human beings, we all evolve, and this work will never be completed, as a matter of fact, because we have seen in the past in our history that this change, or any change as a matter of fact, takes a lot of time. What we are seeing in today's world, what we see in D.C. or what we see in the street, we can fairly conclude that law and justice is something that needs a lot of attention and focus. And when we talk about law and justice, I know people have different opinion, but what I am thinking about is it's about fairness. It's about information. It's about duties and rights. It's about what is just versus unjust. So there is a lot to talk about it. I know a lot of scholars have spoken, written a lot of books on these things. Obviously, we can't talk about all these things in this short period of time. But what I have experienced in my practice, we have a law firm in Manhattan, New York. We have, for past 10 plus years, as a matter of fact, 12 years, we have been on our own, and we are working with a lot of minorities, handling all different kind of problems. But yeah, I would be happy to speak and share my events as you think, as you say, that fits within the Law and Justice Academy's purpose.
Yeah, Ms. Ava.
Thank you for further explaining what your mission is and what you do, both you, Francina, and Dilly. And now for my next question. So who exactly will this program be open to? And this question goes to both of you.
Well, thank you. That's a great question. The population of multiculturalism, as Dilly mentioned, has changed here in the United States. And this population is targeted toward families, children that are experiencing life's challenges. And we're going to start, quite frankly, with the Constitution of the United States of America. And a lot of our children today are being subjected to child trafficking and human trafficking and bullying and all of these things in school, in the workplace, and in supplier development, trade of their products and services. So when we look at what Dilly's firm focuses on, Ava, and that population of folks that are interested in learning more about immigration, they've immigrated here to the United States through ancestry or job, and there's a process for that. And it's good news when we can legally show the pathway forward to our children and the children and the family from the household first. Then we can live better lives when we go and trade our product or services in the greater marketplace. And so immigration, and the second thing is intellectual property, which I hope Billy can speak a little bit more to us about, because our children are growing up with inventive ideas. They're creating products and services that haven't hit the market yet that have proven to be solutions to a lot of our problems. So we're bringing the legal law and justice to the house to ensure that it's simple enough where if a family is around that kitchen table with immigration issues, the inventive properties, intellectual property, they need to understand how to protect it, how to grow it, and how to lead by example. So to answer your question, I know this is a little long answer, but law and justice cover so much. But I believe with the multiculturalism that we have in this nation today, that educating as we are at the table will prove to have a greater impact in our economic security and development in our communities. What say you, Mr. Dilly?
Oh, yeah, I absolutely agree with you. What we have seen here in the U.S., it's a long history of immigrants contributing to this country's economy, families, agriculture, society, and you name it. And now, most recently, technology, which actually directly links to the intellectual property. We will talk about a little bit later on this one. So what I have noticed is that, we have three different kind of immigration for generations. One that needs a humanitarian protection. Countries like communism, Cuba, China, people had ran away from their countries to protect their lives and families. That is one kind of group we have seen here. And then the second one is the family reuniting the families from U.S. citizens' family living outside of the United States. They come and live with their family. And most recently, what the Congress and we professionals and tech industries have seen is influx of high-tech engineers, professionals who are leading these tech industries in Silicon Valley and everywhere. Either they are leading or they are actually contributing in a huge manner that U.S. Congress is even considering changing some laws just to focus on these individuals. Yeah, as you can see, like 70% of the higher education recipient in the United States are foreign students. They are highly qualified. They are smart kids. They come here. They have degrees from Harvard, MIT, and all these known colleges. So, and then America don't want them to go home and then use their education here to there instead of contributing here in this country. As you have seen, probably Obama is speaking about these things. So this has impacted in our economy. You see the technology. As a result of that, today's world, 96% of the property, the wealth, is intellectual property. I know it's hard to believe it, but Google, Apple, Microsoft, Yahoo, you name it, General Motors, all these assets, the brand names and patent and technology, this is one of the as a matter of fact, only property that people and human civilization has been capitalizing in today's world. So that is very important for minority and a young upcoming generation to tap into, because this will never go away. This is the invention that we have seen and we will be seeing down the road, including this. We have seen this, all these technological development you can see in our own lives. In the past 10 years, we have experienced so much. Tomorrow, there will be a driverless car running on our street. So these things are very important. I think, as Francina said, these important things have to be addressed now so that future can be easier for the young children, for these minorities, for immigrants to collaborate. So every human being on this planet can benefit from this the features. That's what I wanted to say.
I love your response to that. And, my main takeaway is the fact that, not everyone, has to be an aspiring lawyer to learn more about law. Not only will it help you like on a personal level, but it will help you like on an occupational level, no matter what profession you do, whether it's in the technological industry or economic industry or even healthcare. I think you brought up a great point that, it will help ensure that, one, you don't get in trouble for anything, but that, two, that you could possibly use your educations and skill sets from the academy, to possibly change laws that may cause problems or difficulty for yourself and others. So again, Dilly, thank you for your response. And Francina, I'm actually going to go back to you. And can you tell me exactly, like, systematically how the academy is going to work? Francina.
Yeah, great question, Ava. Well, we've been working privately for a number of years in the communities of indigenous people. And as Dilly mentioned, technology has really surfaced a great deal with intellectual property and immigration. So today we are making the announcement publicly that we are now structured to begin the educational series. Now, what does that look like? Well, as we look to partner with our law school deans, our law schools, the professors and retired judges, and in light of COVID and the pandemic and limited participation in person on a campus of learning or visiting law firms, we have a virtual education model. It's a 12-week course that we're looking to get chartered, but in the meantime, we will partner with local schools that can accommodate 10 to 15 students so we can have some on-site presence. But with education right now, it will all be virtual, and that will be rolled out for registration shortly. But in the meantime, we're using this platform to educate and to bring awareness that this is available to our multicultural population and community. One of the big things, Ava, with where we are today is, as Dilly mentioned, with this multicultural generation, it's trust. We found that a lot of families and children from other countries and who have lost their intellectual property have distrust in our law and justice system. So our educational programs will be highlighted over the year of 2021. Once a month, we look to have Dilly back with us. There will be other lawyers that specialize in other areas. We'll be receiving legal situations because, as we all know, the law and justice is situational based. And so that's where we are today, bringing the awareness and knowledge, and then we'll be providing the skills and behavior. And looking forward to bringing some stability within our communities. If we just learn how to use the law and apply it to our lives, social justice, personal justice in our lives is good news. We're just want to bring the good news of our law and justice. There's a lot of corruption. We see that as we're sitting here today, what happened in our Capitol in Congress earlier in the week. So we have a big role to play, as Dilly mentioned, in our law and justice system. And as leaders by example, like Dilly's firm in New York, in Manhattan, I've always admired his work, his trustworthiness, and of his partner law firms and his passion for the people. So we're so delighted to be able to bring this to our communities, Ava, and help our family and children get on the right page with our law and justice.
Wow, thank you so much again for your response. That was really helpful to keep in mind. And if you don't mind, both of you, do you mind going more in depth about what your specific role is within mentoring for this 12-week program?
Okay. So I'm going to share one, when you talk about mentoring and academy and education, this is just to summarize briefly. In 2003, when I was in law school in San Francisco, and we have Kamala Harris, the vice president-elect. She was a district attorney in San Francisco, and I was interning under her in the same building, same floor, in the district DA's office. At that time, I did not think I would actually be running a successful law firm in the city of New York. And I bet you then District Attorney Kamala Harris didn't think she would be the Vice President of the United States of America, which we talk about, like, let's say 17 years ago, 2003 we talked about, before, actually.
Right.
Less than 16-year difference. So if you go back to both of her, I'm not trying to compare myself who she is. Of course, she was my boss. She was always an accomplished lady, and still is, and lot to come. So if you go back, when I was in law school too, now, it was not even thought of what I would be doing. And I believe it goes the same for her as well. So the bottom line is that if you focus on a couple of things that you like, that interest you, that is right for the community, that's right for the people, and that's right for you. And I believe the way is out there for everybody. It's mentoringship is just about that. You have to work with the right people who have right mindset, and that matches with your expectation, your goal. You learn something, and eventually it could be anyone. It could be your neighbor. It could be a professor. It could be anybody. But you just have to have a chance to work and learn under people who want to make a change. And I believe that is enough for any children or any of us to excel and go forward. That's what I think.
Well, I think that's awesome. That is it, and well said. Ava, I believe that we have a leader by example within our Coach Tate Law and Justice Academy for the Children. I'm so excited that Mr. Dilley is going to be a part of our team to bring forth his special gifts that he can help begin resolving and making a difference. We talked about once the inauguration takes place, we have a plan. There's a legal defense fund. There's a children's defense fund. We talk about funders. There's one side where this is an asset-based charity, and we're looking at, as we speak, law firms, legal defense fund, that these funds are available for programs such as this. And Dilley and I talked about this the other week, about how we can join in our forces together through the Coach Tate Foundation. There are other lawyers with different specialties, but there are certain ones that will really reach the people. It's going to be paramount to the difference that needs to be made. We call from the White House to the outhouse. Isn't that right, Dilley? Just making ourselves available, aware, and then there will be processes where folks can begin to email Coach Tate and contact us with their legal issues. You'll give that at the end of the program, the email address, and also to those law firms where you're sole proprietor or a big major law firm or a professor that want to participate in the virtual educational model. We call it VIM, and begin to feed in to the families and help them resolve their law and justice issues before it becomes bad. Let's bring the good news. I can't stress enough, our law and justice is good. It's good for us if we know how to use it appropriately. And I'll share this with you in closing. And Dilley, please chime in on this. But we have to teach. We're such a diverse nation now in the United States. We have to teach our children and our families about other countries' laws. If you're going to go and visit Delhi, New Delhi, India, or Russia, or China, or Africa, or any other country besides the United States, they have their own law and justice system. And we have to educate appropriately on all of it because we're all together here in America. What say you, Dilley? I know we got a few more minutes left. I think a couple more minutes, but what say you?
No, I agree with you. I agree with you. We have to move forward, and there is a lot we can do. There is a lot we can accomplish within the system. There is a lot we can do to change the upcoming generation for a good direction, for a better future. So I do agree with you that there is a lot can be done, and I think this is a good thing. As a matter of fact, this is important also, is because we want this is the law. This is the justice we're talking about, whole Constitution. So we can't just ignore this and then just go along our lives. That doesn't work this way.
Miss Ava, amen.
Yes. Okay. So I'm going to have one last question before we start closing off here, and that is, how exactly do people become a part? Like, how do people enroll into the academy? What does the funding look like?
Well, that's a good question. We talked about this earlier. Shortly, there will be on the Coach Tate Foundation website under the New America, for those that are interested in participating in the curriculum that we have, you just register an email online at www.coachtatefoundation.com, and there is an email. I think Ava is ava@coachtatefoundation.com for those that are interested in becoming a part of the broadcast to talk about that. And then thirdly, we have a legal fund that has been established for those people in these communities that need legal and law and justice advice. They have issues and they need a resolve. Then they will be able to contribute to our law firm as funders of solutions for those folks, so that these people do not have to worry about, I can't afford a lawyer. Most catastrophes happen because there is no pathway that's trusted for legal and law and justice resolution. And so we want to bring that in, and it increases the pipeline of new legal and law issues that can be addressed and changed, as Dilly said. So we'll be developing and rolling this out, Ava, over the next 3 months. It will be online. This is our first introduction, and that is the simplified way that we can at least give folks an opportunity to reach out and communicate with us.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you, Francina and Dilly, for helping us get a better grip on what exactly the New America Law Justice Academy is, and how exactly the program plans to pay it forward this year in spring 2021.
And one more thing, Ava, can we get Dilly to give our listeners his contact information so that
yes,
they can either reach out to us or Dilly directly?
As I said, I would be happy to mentor, help, legal, social, whatever issues I can be helpful with. And we are based in Manhattan, but some of the areas of law we do nationwide federal laws, and particularly intellectual property and immigrations are nationwide federal laws, and it can be practiced anywhere in any federal courts. So anyone can reach me through you, Eva, and Francina. But at the same time, our website is www.bhattalaw.com. Once again, bhattalaw.com. They can contact us through there, and hopefully we can be any help.
Awesome. Thank you. That will be really helpful. In light of the fact that Martin Luther King Day is on Monday, I'd like to read a quote by him about education. He said that, quote, "The function of education is to teach one to think intensively and to think critically. Intelligence plus character, that is the goal of true education." And I think that personally, that plays a huge role in the socio-cultural, political, economical systems we have for justice and for liberty, just like the New America Law Justice Academy, is preaching. And because, there was so much information, let me summarize some key points for our listeners right before I close. And one being is that the Multicultural Academy is a 12-week program, partnered with 15 schools, open to all people, no matter your background. And it's just basically you learn more about law and how to navigate it. And Francina and Billy will be some of many other potential lawyers and /more mentors within the program. And if you'd like more information on their credentials and about the program itself, visit CoachTateFoundation.com. And Zoom sessions will be available in the spring, roughly the spring, in March or in April of 2021. You can register for Zoom sessions on CoachTateFoundation.com. And also, if you'd like to be featured in the podcast, contact me at ava@CoachTateFoundation.com. And lastly, I think it's important to note that, like I said earlier, not everyone has to be an aspiring lawyer to learn more about the law. Laws for everyone who wants to understand and navigate life from, again, socio-cultural, political, and an economical standpoint. And to all of our listeners, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your time, and I most genuinely hope everyone has a blessed day. And as Francina would say, we are all one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Until next week, same time, same station, I'm your host, Ava Nkadi, and this is Empower Family Talk, a radio podcast.
Empower your family with the dynamic new book by Francina Holris, Our Sixth Sense and Purpose, The Power in Knowing Who You Are. It's the book that gives you insights into life's problems. Francina Holris is an author, motivational speaker, and national broadcaster who believes the answers to your problems lies within the knowledge that was once traditionally passed down by families. But that knowledge has been short-circuited by today's faster pace. The book, Our Sixth Sense and Purpose, The Power in Knowing Who You Are, brings that accumulated wisdom to the problems that all families face. You'll find your copy of Our Sixth Sense and Purpose, The Power in Knowing Who You Are at Amazon and at better bookstores. Empower your life with the dynamic new book, Our Sixth Sense and Purpose, The Power in Knowing Who You Are by Francina Holris.
Thank you for joining Francina Holris on Empowered Family Talk. Tune in next week.